guys make some noise for Sean Carter? Thanks. Hi. Did you guys all grow up with junk cars? Like I did? Yeah? Yeah, that's what I grew up with, junk cars. I remember the first car my parents ever had, it had this giant hole in the bottom. Right? Like if you were sitting in the back seat, you couldn't put your feet down. That's how big it was. And me and my brothers, our favorite game to play is that we would tie things to string when we were driving, and then we lower it out of the car and see how far we could get it behind the car before my mom started yelling at us. So sometimes it'd be like a G.I. Joe we tie to a string and then lower it out. We'd be like, Snake Eyes is on a mission. My favorite one is sometimes we tie a beer can to a string, and then we just trail that behind the car for miles, you know, like we're fishing for a new dad. But having a car like that, and all these cars growing up, it messed me up for adulthood because me and my wife, we bought like a brand new truck recently, and I'm not used to having a nice new truck. I've never owned a new vehicle in my life. So we bought this new truck. I'm not gonna say the brand because I don't want to split the room, but it's built tough. And we bought this truck, and it has this feature on it where it's a feature where if you ever come to a complete stop, the engine shuts off entirely. That's probably fine if you grew up wealthy, right? But if you grew up a little bit poor, that's a panic attack every time you come to a red light. I brought it back to the car dealership. I was like, I can't handle the stress. Like every time we come to a red light, I'm like, oh, I guess we're walking now. So I brought it back to the car dealership. I was like, I can't handle this. You need to take this car back. He was like, no, it's a feature. It's a feature. That's a good thing. I was like, what other features can you give me on this vehicle that will remind me of my childhood? You know, maybe like instead of like a passenger side window, you can just give me a black trash bag taped on there. Or maybe you can hire a man to sit in the front seat and tell me that he'll give me something to cry about. So my wife and I, we met online. We met on Bumble, which is a great dating website if you're a man and a coward. A couple of you know. And internet dating is hard. Like I remember the first person I messaged on the internet, I asked this girl, I was about to ask her if she wanted to go get coffee or something. Before I could ask her anything, she wrote to me, she said, hey, have you ever murdered anyone? And now I want to joke around, but it's all text messages. There's no tone, you know? People can't tell if you're joking around or not. You know, so I was like, I should write something back like, no, I'm a very gentle guy. I'd never hurt anyone. But instead, I wrote back, are you a cop? It was cool. I met my wife online, and then we went out on our first date. This is one of the things that I remember from our first date. We went on our first date, and during it, she told me that she liked skiing, like downhill skiing. And I remember I had like a very sexist thought. I was like, I'm gonna have to go watch this woman fall down a mountain. Like that was a sexist thought. I know that now because I've gone skiing with her, and she's way better than me at skiing. Like we went down to Black Diamond, I almost died. She looked bored, honestly. She was like on her phone. And that's when I realized, I was like, that was such a sexist thought. Like, as it turns out, how good you are at skiing has nothing to do with whether you're a man or a woman, okay? The only thing that determines how good you are at skiing is how much money your parents had growing up. It's the only thing. You just get good at the things that you have access to and you can practice in your formative years, you know? So my wife's good at things like swimming, tennis, horseback riding. I'm good at things like lighting gasoline fires, standing in an above-ground pool, and hitting my brothers with homemade nunchucks. Those are my skills. Hey, you guys are great. Thanks a lot.